Okay, thank you so much for clicking on the video. This topic today is basically I want it to be a healthy relationship. I definitely don't want it to be hatred filled or anybody to get too involved in or get too emotional because we do have enough things separating the black male and the black female already in the community. Um, so I don't want to um, basically get too emotional about this. Let's just have a healthy conversation and just keep it at that. Okay, so anyway, I was strolling on Facebook and I did see a post. Basically, it refers to a woman not wanting to be, and this came from a pro-black page, which is the only reason why um, I'm speaking in the black community. But honestly, let's be real, this is a across the board issue, you know, and I don't even know how many in the black community it really affects as far as the pro-choice is concerned. I know for a fact that as far as the missing fathers in the household, then it's widespread in the black community. But pro-choice, meaning abortion, if you're not familiar with that, there was a movement that they make it pro-choice now. If you decide, you want to have an abortion. But basically, it had a black woman on the picture, and it said when a black woman decides she doesn't want to be a parent, it's called pro-choice. When a male decides he doesn't want to be a parent, it's called deadbeat. And come on, y'all, let's go ahead and name out the dynamics in that first and foremost. Because if a woman decides to be pro-choice, which means she had an abortion, I am not for abortions, but I cannot tell somebody what they can and cannot do with their bodies. So if a woman decides to be pro-choice, that means she had an abortion and the baby's no longer on this earth. Now, if a man decides to be, because and let's put that out there, a man can't decide to be pro-choice. I mean, he can talk about it, he can try to encourage the woman to do it, but at the end of the day, where it's not necessarily a double standard, because that's what they were talking about. It's a double standard. It's not really a double standard because that's not equal, because a man can't have a baby. So if a man could have a baby, then it would be considered, then we can maybe say double standard if that was the case. But that wouldn't even be the case, because if a man could be pro-choice, it'll be a lot of them out there being pro-choice too. So you really can't put those on the same caliber. I'm sorry, because a man can't carry a baby, you know? And then at the end of the day, you can't tell somebody what they can do, what they can and cannot do with their bodies or whatever. It just happens. And so, with that being said, is a man considered a deadbeat? Well, the main dynamic to that is if a woman goes pro-choice, it means the baby is no longer on the earth. If the man decides he don't want to be a part of the baby's life, well, the baby is still on the earth. So, yeah, you can be considered a deadbeat. Now, there's some instances where they were saying you can give up your rights. I don't know all the information behind that, like if that means that you don't have to take care of them. I think in a sense that can mean that. But I'm not 100% sure that I really have not even looked up that information to see, or have never even thought about it. But the point is, you're deciding that you don't want to take care of a baby that you helped make. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into that, because the only thing I want to do is bring out some valid points and break this down for you to where you can understand it's not a double standard. From my perspective, and again, I always will say these are just my opinions, my perspective. It doesn't mean it's right, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just how I view the world. It's my perspective of how I see the world and how I see things. And so, as far as that is concerned, like I was saying with the pro-choice, again, I'm not for abortion, but do y'all see all this crazy stuff going on with these parents and their boyfriends rape their babies and kill them, and they killing their babies and all kind of stuff? By all means, if you gonna be doing some crazy stuff like that, then please pro-choice it to the max. You know what I'm saying? And besides pro-choice, and just maybe stop having sex, or make sure you protect it, get on some kind of birth control so you don't have to make that choice. But by all means, if these people out here feeling like they are not mentally capable of taking care of a child, or being a mother, please exercise that right, because it is horrible stuff going out here between parents and kids and killing them. I couldn't imagine, because one of the things I've always prayed for, even before I had kids, when I have kids, the pain I don't want to experience is one of them, leaving the earth or anything before me, or or whatever. So I always pray, you know, let me leave the earth like naturally. The mother and father are supposed to leave the earth anyway before the child. And so that's always been a prayer of mine. So that's what I look forward to. But it's a weekend. Y'all know what time it is. Strawberry margarita. I haven't got off of it yet, so no new drinks. But anyway, yeah, so by all means, pro-choice it. You know, just to avoid the crazy stuff that goes down. Anyway, moving on. So my thing with that, let's just talk about when a man does have control. Now, and what we're gonna talk about is in the perfect world. We're not gonna talk about the unperfect world, which happens more times than none. But in a perfect world, in a perfect setting, we'll be able to set and get to know each other. Do you want kids? Do you see yourself having kids in the future? Can you have kids? Are you still able to have kids? What do you want to do before you have kids? You know, things like that. You'll be able to ask those questions. You'll be able to know the answer to those questions. And then you'll be able to know, okay, well, she's on birth control. I can go raw if that's something you're trying to do. I wouldn't recommend it because let's be honest. Now, not even nowadays, even back then, baby is just part of the problem. There's a lot more things you can contract by having unprotected sex, which can be AIDS, STDs, uncurable diseases, you know. So baby is just like, 1/28th of the problems that you can have by having unprotected sex. So, you know, but that's the subject at hand that we're going to talk about. So, by no means am I encouraging unprotected sex, but we're just going to stick this strictly to the baby factor, which, like I said, is about 1 in 128. Really not 28, like 1 in 100. There's a lot of things you can contract from unprotected sex. Okay, so anyway, baby is what we're stuck on. And so with that being said, in that perfect world, you'll have more understanding of that person, know what to do. Like, maybe I need to bring my own condoms because this person's she's saying she really wants to have a baby. Her clock is ticking. She might do some trifling things such as poke holes in the condoms and things like that, or take my condom out of the trash can and put it in her so you can have a baby. Therefore, if I decide to still have sex with her, I'm going to bring my own condoms. I'm going to make sure the condom is flushed down the toilet. Things of that nature for the ones who go through the extremity to have kids. I wish I could go through the extremity of having kids, but that's not the case. I am very fertile. So while I wasn't thinking about kids, obviously the world was thinking about kids for me. So therefore I have some. But I can remember, it's so crazy because while I'm sitting here not really thinking about kids, not really thinking about sex, but my situation just kind of had me weak minded in that perspective or that field. But it was so many girls around my age that were trying to have babies, and they were like, I want to have a baby, I want to do this, and I'm looking at them like, really? Okay. They were poking holes in condoms. I mean, going through the extremity. And what I am saying, these are people I went to school with, so just imagine, like, at this age, you really want to be a parent, and then here I am, the one not thinking about kids or anything, and just decided to engage in the activity, and then, bam, popping out kids like Skittles. So it's crazy. But people will go to those extremities. I've heard it firsthand. Young, that when somebody wants a baby, they will go through the extremities to try to get that baby. And to me, not thinking about all the stuff that can come besides a baby. And I was always grateful, that it was a baby and things like that. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. So, you know, people do go to the extremities to do those things. So with that being said, in this perfect world, you know, we'll be able to know that. And the male might decide, you know, maybe I don't need to have sex with this person because they want to have, you know, they want to have a baby, or I can have unprotected sex with this person outside of, you know, making sure she's straight, no STDs or anything. But because she's on birth control, and I know for a fact that, you know, she's not trying to have no babies right now, so I'm good, even if things were to slip up, because that's not in her forecast right now. You know, or just knowing how much that person really cares about you, things like that. And this just is not from a male perspective, but it's just because of the topic. It's more of the deadbeat, and just because there is a level to this. And the level, like I stated earlier, is because a male can't carry the baby. So I'm bringing up this perfect world stuff because honestly, this is the stage in which the male has the right. The male has the right, or not even the right. The male has the equal amount of control as the woman. You know, to control whether or not you become a father or not. You know, so this is on the level where you have the equal amount of control as the woman, because let's be honest, once the baby is put in the woman's womb, honestly, depending on the woman, period, it doesn't even matter on the woman. The point blank is, it is at that time no longer your choice, because it's not in your body. It's like, it's kind of a situation that becomes out of your hand. You know, it becomes out of your hand at that point, because you're not the one that's going to carry that baby. So you can't say if you want to keep that baby, you don't want to keep the baby. You can voice your opinion, but you're not going to tell that woman or force that woman to do what it is you want them to do. And I'm only saying, bringing this video as an education as well, so you can kind of get, it's not necessarily double standards, but it's just levels to it. And there is a lot of things that we experience in life that are not fair. And I don't want to necessarily say that this is one of them, but I guess once the baby is in the womb, it could be one of them. But at the same time, we just have to be educated on knowing when do we have control over these issues. Come on, because let's be honest, it's a lot of things that we have the choice to make, and then suddenly it's out of our control. And it's the same way when you think about it. You have the choice to do that criminal activity or not. And you know that once you do that criminal activity and you get caught, then it's out of your control at what happens at that point. And I hate to put that on that same caliber, but it's kind of the same thing, because at one point you do have control over that situation. You have control to know, okay, should I be trying to raw dog this woman or not? Because if something happened, how much control am I going to have over this situation? You know, so you sitting here, you done got into this criminal activity, you done got locked up, and now you have to wait on the judge and other people to determine your fate of what's going to happen in that situation. And it's the same thing when it comes to a woman and having sex with them and putting that baby in that woman's body. It's the same thing. So you have to be educated on where you have the actual control at and make the best decision at that time. Okay, so once you impregnate a woman, at that particular point, the only thing you can do is try to sway her one way or another, but you are no longer in control of that situation. For the most part, you're not. You're not no longer in control of that situation, because, like I say, well, he'll keep saying, and everybody knows, you can't carry that baby. So that lady is going to make whatever decision she feel like she should make for herself, her mental state, and her body. And for some, they will say, okay, you don't want this baby. I don't have no need to have this baby. Or whatever, because he don't want it. He's not going to be here. I don't want to be sitting here being a single parent. A, B, C, and D. I'm going to go ahead and go through with abortion. And then bam, you get what you want. But we know that we don't live in that perfect world. So you have other instances. Okay, you have instances where women who don't believe in abortions, I'm one of them who don't believe. I almost went through with one and didn't, but I almost went through with it. But I'm not one of them that believe in abortion. That's why I have all the kids I had. I've never had an abortion or anything like that. And so you have my kind that, okay, regardless if you're going to be around or not, I'm not killing the baby. Because at the end of the day, the male might have some kind of maybe some kind of, I guess, effects or reaction to it, but not like the woman would have. You know, you have to understand that because the baby is actually in the woman's body. So it might be different levels to killing that child or getting rid of that abortion where it'll affect you in one way or lesser way, and then it'll affect the woman in a greater way or whatever. So, you know, we just have to be smart and educated on these. So as far as in this unperfect world where we don't get to know people, we get drunk, we get high, we have sex, we don't use protection, we don't know if this person wants a baby or not, we don't know A, B, C, D, and to Z about this person, but we engage in this sexual activity. Now, granted, we're risk takers. When you do activity like that, it's basically you call being a risk taker, because you have people, even when it comes to gambling, we can use that as an example. A lot of people don't gamble because they don't want to lose their money. They're not big risk takers. They're more like, okay, I'm thinking logical. If I spend this and don't get it back, then I've lost this much. And then you have the risk takers that don't care if they lose that much, or they might care, but they feel like it's worth the trial or it's worth the risk. And that's pretty much the same when it comes to sex. And like I stated, and I keep stating it, it doesn't all fall on the baby. It's a lot of things you put at risk, your health and everything, when you trying to have unprotected sex. So, you know, let's just keep that in consideration when you're thinking about it. At the point where a man can control whether or not he wants to be a father is in the early stages. If you're not getting to know that person, then you might want to make sure you use protection. Make sure the person's on some kind of conception, or might just not want to have sex altogether. And again, it's just an education moment. Just trying to get us hip and definitely not to separate us. So like and subscribe, please. Tell me what you think about the video. Y'all have a wonderful Saturday. Talk to you later.